Have you ever wondered if your wife is truly thinking about you during intimacy? What if, in the most vulnerable, passionate moments, her mind wasn't with you at all? It's a nightmare no man wants to face. The idea that the woman you love, the one lying next to you, isn't really present. That she's physically there, but emotionally somewhere else, with someone else. Most men assume that if their wife is still sleeping with them, everything is fine. But what if the truth is more painful than that? What if she's just going through the motions, all while fantasizing about another man? The worst part? She won't tell you. Women are masters at hiding their emotions, at keeping their deepest desires locked away where you can't see them. But no matter how much she tries to cover up the truth, there are signs, subtle hidden signals that reveal her real thoughts. And if you miss them, you'll never even realize what's happening until it's too late. Here are 7 disturbing signs your wife is secretly thinking about another man while she's having sex with you. If you notice more than one of these, you need to pay attention. But before we dive in, make sure to subscribe if you want to truly understand female psychology and attraction on a deeper level. Now let's get into it. Sign number 1. She avoids eye contact or keeps her eyes closed too long. They say the eyes never lie, and when it comes to intimacy, this is especially true. Think about the way your wife used to look at you in bed. Was there intensity? A spark? That raw, undeniable connection? If so, ask yourself, is it still there now? One of the most subtle but painful signs that a woman is thinking about another man during sex is her inability to maintain eye contact. If she used to lock eyes with you, but now her gaze drifts away. If she looks anywhere but directly at you. If she closes her eyes the entire time, far longer than she ever did before, it might not be about pleasure at all. It might be because she doesn't want to face the truth. Why is eye contact so important? Eye contact during intimacy is one of the most powerful forms of connection between two people. Studies in relationship psychology confirm that prolonged eye contact increases emotional bonding, intimacy, and trust. But when a woman is mentally detached, her instinct will be to block out reality, to disconnect from the present moment. In her mind, she might be fantasizing about someone else, but she knows if she looks into your eyes, she won't be able to fully escape. Because in that moment, the guilt, the emotional distance, the thoughts of another man, it all becomes too real. How to recognize this sign? If she closes her eyes the entire time, even when she never used to. If she looks away quickly the second you try to hold her gaze. If she focuses on the ceiling, the pillow, or an object in the room instead of you. If she seems disconnected, as if her body is there, but her mind is somewhere else. What this means for your relationship. If your wife is avoiding eye contact in bed, you need to ask yourself why. Is she emotionally distant? Has her desire for you changed? Or is she mentally replacing you with someone else? Don't ignore this sign. It's subtle, but it speaks volumes. Sign number 2. She seems emotionally disconnected or distant. Have you ever been with your wife, physically close, but felt miles apart? It's one of the most gut-wrenching experiences a man can go through, being intimate with someone who isn't really there. You can feel it in the way she touches you, the hesitation, the lack of passion, the emotional distance. It's as if her body is going through the motions, but her heart, her mind, and her soul are somewhere else. If your wife used to be deeply engaged, moaning your name, holding you close, responding to your touch, and now she's just passive, quiet, or uninterested, it's a sign that something has shifted, and that shift could mean she's thinking about another man. The psychology of emotional detachment. Women are emotional creatures. When they desire a man, it shows. Their passion is intense, their energy is undeniable, and their body language screams attraction. But when that desire fades, when their heart starts wandering towards someone else, that passion dies, and you can feel it. She used to crave intimacy. Now she treats it like a chore. She used to pull you closer. Now she seems almost distant, even cold. She used to whisper your name. Now she stays silent or avoids making it personal. How to recognize this sign? She doesn't initiate intimacy anymore, and if she does, it feels forced. She's physically present but mentally absent, her mind clearly elsewhere. She reacts less, no deep breathing, no intense moments, just passive engagement. She finishes quickly or rushes through like she just wants it to be over. She doesn't verbally express desire the way she used to. Why this could mean? She's thinking about someone else. When a woman fantasizes about another man, she starts feeling emotionally disconnected from the one she's with. She might compare you to him in her mind. She might be longing for the thrill she once felt with someone else. Or worse, she might be wishing she was in his bed instead of yours. This is why some women become robotic during sex, because they're not truly engaged. They're replaying a fantasy, an old memory, or imagining someone else touching them. What you need to do, if your wife no longer seems emotionally present in bed, don't ignore it. Ask yourself, has she become distant outside the bedroom too? Does she avoid deep conversations about your relationship? Is she still affectionate with you, or does she pull away? Because if she's disconnected in bed, she's disconnected in her heart too. And if you don't address it, she'll only drift further. Sign number 3, she reacts differently than usual. Have you noticed a sudden change in the way your wife behaves during intimacy? One of the biggest red flags that a woman is thinking about another man in bed is a noticeable shift in her responses. Maybe she used to be wild, passionate, and eager, but now she's quiet and disengaged. Or maybe the opposite is happening. She's suddenly trying new things in bed that she never seemed interested in before. Either way, this change in behavior could be a sign that her desires are being influenced by someone else. The 2 opposite signs to watch for. Sign 1. She becomes less responsive and emotionally cold. She used to react to your touch, your words, your presence. Now she barely responds. She's no longer vocal, no moans, no passion, no enthusiasm. She lays there passively like she's just waiting for it to be over. She avoids giving feedback or expressing enjoyment. It feels like she's somewhere else in her mind. This happens because she's detached from the moment. She's not experiencing intimacy with you. She's simply enduring it. And in many cases, that's because her heart and mind are focused on another man. Sign 2. She becomes more experimental and tries new things. She suddenly wants to do things in bed that she never seemed interested in before. She brings up new fantasies or positions out of nowhere. She's suddenly more confident, more dominant, or more eager. You feel like she's performing rather than connecting. This can be a sign that she's mentally replaying an experience she had with another man. Or worse, she's imagining being with someone else while she's with you. The psychology behind these changes. When a woman is thinking about another man during sex, she will naturally react differently. If she's emotionally conflicted or feeling guilty, she may shut down and withdraw. If she's fantasizing about someone else, she may suddenly try new things because she's imagining being in a different scenario. If she's mentally replaying an experience with another man, her energy might feel artificial, more like acting than genuine passion. Either way, you can feel it. Something is off. The way she moves, the way she touches you, the way she reacts. It doesn't feel like her. It feels like someone else's influence is in the room. How to recognize this sign: sudden lack of enthusiasm or passion, new behaviors or techniques that didn't come from you, an emotional disconnect. You feel like she's not fully present. She avoids deep, intimate moments, keeping things strictly physical. What you need to do: if your wife's reactions have suddenly changed, don't just brush it off. Ask yourself, where did she suddenly get these new ideas from? Why does she seem less emotionally engaged than before? Does she feel truly present with you, or is she mentally somewhere else? Because when a woman starts reacting differently in bed, it's never random. It's always a sign of something deeper. Sign number 4. She only initiates sex when she feels guilty. Have you noticed that your wife only seems interested in intimacy after an argument, after spending time away from you, or when she senses that you're suspicious of her behavior? This is one of the most deceptive and confusing signs that a woman might be thinking about another man while being intimate with you. Instead of pulling away entirely, she might overcompensate, using sex as a way to mask her guilt. At first, you might think, wow, she's suddenly being more affectionate. Maybe things are improving. But in reality, it could be a distraction, a way to make sure you don't start asking too many questions. Why guilt makes some women more physically affectionate. Psychologists have studied this phenomenon in relationships. When a person feels guilty for having emotional or physical attraction to someone else, they may try to reconnect with their partner through intimacy to ease their own guilt. It's a subconscious way of saying, if I still sleep with my husband, then I'm not really doing anything wrong. If I initiate sex, he won't suspect that my feelings are changing. If I act passionate, maybe I can convince myself that nothing is missing in our relationship. In reality, these moments of sudden sexual enthusiasm aren't about desire. They're about covering up the truth. How to recognize this sign? She suddenly initiates sex after acting distant for a while. She becomes unusually affectionate after spending time away from you. She only seems eager when you start pulling away emotionally. She suddenly makes up for her coldness by being extra passionate, but it feels forced. She uses intimacy as a way to deflect serious conversations about your relationship. When sex feels like an apology, not a desire. Think about it. Does her sexual interest seem tied to specific moments? Does it feel like she's making up for something, rather than genuinely wanting to connect with you? If your wife is thinking about another man, she might be using intimacy with you as a way to convince herself and you that nothing is wrong. It's a classic guilt-driven behavior, and if you don't recognize it, you might mistake it for love when it's really just emotional damage control. What you need to ask yourself: is she suddenly initiating intimacy out of nowhere, even though she's been distant? Does it feel like she's trying to prove something, rather than naturally expressing desire? Do these moments of passion always come after she's done something suspicious? Because when a woman is fully in love, fully engaged, and fully devoted, she doesn't use sex as a way to hide her guilt. She does it because she genuinely wants you. And if it doesn't feel like that anymore, you need to pay attention. Sign number 5. She fantasizes more than she connects. Have you ever felt like your wife is there with you physically, but mentally, she's somewhere else? This is one of the biggest red flags that most men ignore because they assume that just because their wife is still having sex with them, everything is fine. But what if she's not actually present in the moment? What if she's in bed with you, but in her mind, she's with someone else? A woman's mind is her most powerful sexual organ. Unlike men who are more visually and physically driven, women's desires are often fueled by fantasy, emotions, and psychological stimulation. This means that if your wife has emotionally or physically connected with another man, her thoughts during sex may not be focused on you anymore. How to tell if she's fantasizing about another man in bed? She closes her eyes the entire time. If she never looks at you, never opens her eyes, and seems completely lost in her own head, she could be mentally escaping into a fantasy. Closing her eyes occasionally is normal, but if she completely avoids reality, it's a sign that she's somewhere else in her mind. She gets more excited when you're not talking to her. Does she seem more into it when no words are being exchanged? If she gets passionate during silence but pulls back when you say something intimate, she might be trying to keep herself in a fantasy world, one where you're not the man she's imagining. She's suddenly interested in role-playing or pretending you're someone else. If she asks you to call her a different name, or she wants you to take on a completely different persona, she might be using sex as an escape from reality. Some role-play is normal, but if she never wants to be fully herself with you, it's a warning sign. She seems detached right after sex. A woman who is emotionally connected to you will usually want cuddling, conversation, or some form of closeness after intimacy. If she immediately pulls away, avoids eye contact, or seems distracted, it could be because she feels guilty for mentally being with someone else. Why this happens? The psychology of emotional affairs. Many women who fantasize about another man in bed aren't necessarily physically cheating, but their hearts and minds are already drifting away. This happens when she has developed an emotional connection with another man. She feels more excitement thinking about him than actually being with you. She is mentally replaying past experiences or imagining new ones. She feels unfulfilled in your relationship, but isn't ready to admit it. What you need to ask yourself: does she seem more focused on her own fantasy than on connecting with you? Does she avoid deep eye contact and intimate conversation in bed? Is she detached after sex, as if she just went through the motions? Because when a woman is fully present and deeply connected to a man, she doesn't need to escape into fantasy to feel pleasure. But if she's fantasizing more than she's connecting, Someone else is in her thoughts. Sign number 6. She stops saying your name in bed. When was the last time your wife actually said your name during sex? It might seem like a small detail, but it's one of the biggest psychological giveaways that a woman is mentally checked out during intimacy. When a woman is truly connected to her partner, both emotionally and physically, she naturally says his name. It's an unconscious sign of closeness, of attachment, of raw desire. But if she's thinking about another man, her mind will avoid using your name because deep down she knows it would break the illusion. The psychology behind this behavior: a woman who is fantasizing about another man doesn't want to be pulled back into reality. Her brain is caught in a battle between what she's imagining, the other man, what's actually happening, being in bed with you, and one of the easiest ways to keep herself in the fantasy: avoiding anything personal that reminds her of reality. If she says your name, if she acknowledges your presence too deeply, it forces her to remember where she actually is. So instead, she stays silent, or worse, she replaces your name with generic phrases, "Oh my God," or "yes" instead of your name, moans with no real words, just sounds to keep from having to say your name, commands, "harder," "don't stop," or "like that," things that keep the act impersonal. Signs: she's avoiding saying your name. She used to say your name in bed, but now she never does. She avoids anything personal or intimate. No deep connection. She sticks to basic phrases or just moans, never making it about you specifically. If she accidentally says the wrong name, even once, that's the biggest red flag of all. What this means for your relationship: a woman who loves you, desires you, and is fully present with you will naturally want to say your name. It's a mark of emotional closeness, a sign of real connection. But if she's actively avoiding it, if she's treating intimacy like an act instead of a moment with you, then there's a serious problem. Ask yourself, when was the last time she said your name in bed? Does she seem more focused on fantasy than connection? Does sex feel mechanical, impersonal, or distant? Because when a woman stops saying your name in bed, it's not just a habit, it's a sign. A sign that, in her mind, you might not be the man she's truly thinking about. Sign number 7. She seems more satisfied after sex than during it. Does your wife seem strangely relieved after sex, but never fully engaged while it's happening? One of the most painful signs that a woman is thinking about another man during intimacy is when she treats sex like an obligation rather than a desire. She's not passionate, not eager, not fully present. But the moment it's over, she suddenly seems lighter, more relaxed, even happier. This isn't a sign of deep emotional connection. It's a sign of emotional detachment. The hidden meaning behind this behavior: if a woman is truly desiring her man, she will savor every second of intimacy. She'll want to drag it out, feel more, experience more, deepen the connection. But if she's mentally checked out, if she's only sleeping with you to keep up appearances, to avoid suspicion, or to cover up guilt, then she just wants to get it over with. And that's why she seems more satisfied after sex than during it. Sign she's just getting through it. She barely reacts during the act, but after, she suddenly acts more affectionate. Maybe she smiles more, cuddles more, or tries to engage in small talk, but only after it's over, she rushes through it. Does she avoid foreplay, avoid taking her time, avoid making it feel special? If sex feels like a checklist task rather than a moment of passion, she's likely disconnected. She avoids deep intimacy, but still wants sex to happen. If she was completely disinterested, she'd reject you. But if she lets it happen without passion, it's often because she feels guilty about something else. Why this could mean: she's thinking about another man. When a woman desires her husband, sex is an experience, a connection, a moment she treasures. But when she fantasizes about another man, when her heart and mind are drifting towards someone else, sex becomes a chore. She's not rejecting you because that would make you ask questions, but she's also not deeply present because her emotions are somewhere else. What you need to do: if your wife seems more relieved than satisfied after sex, it's time to take a step back and ask yourself, does she still initiate intimacy with enthusiasm or only out of obligation? Does she seem present and engaged, or is she just getting through it? Does she act more connected after sex, as if she's covering up guilt? Because when a woman is truly in love, truly devoted, and truly satisfied, she doesn't see sex as a task to complete. She sees it as a moment of connection. And if that connection is missing, if it feels like she's emotionally somewhere else, then you need to open your eyes. What this means for your marriage: if you've made it this far, you're already starting to ask yourself the hard questions. Is my wife still fully devoted to me? Is she emotionally and physically engaged with me? Or is she drifting towards someone else? These 7 signs aren't just random behaviors. They're symptoms of a deeper problem. When a woman is thinking about another man while having sex with you, she may not even realize she's doing it at first. It often starts with emotional distance. Maybe she's formed a bond with someone else. Maybe she's revisiting an old memory or fantasy. Maybe she's no longer fulfilled in the relationship but doesn't want to admit it. And then, slowly, her body language, her energy, and her presence in the bedroom begin to change. The cold, hard truth. A woman who desires only you will look at you with passion and connection, say your name in bed without hesitation, be emotionally and physically engaged, not just going through the motions. See intimacy as a shared experience, not something to rush through. But a woman who is mentally checking out will seem distant and disconnected even while being intimate. Avoid saying your name or making things personal. Appear to be fantasizing or living inside her own mind during sex. Show more relief than satisfaction once it's over. So, what should you do? If you recognize several of these signs in your wife, don't ignore them. Do not become desperate, clingy, or confrontational. That will only push her further away. Do not accuse her without evidence. Instead, focus on what you've been observing. Start paying attention to her emotional engagement. Is she still affectionate with you outside the bedroom? Open up deeper conversations. Ask about her emotional needs. Is she feeling disconnected? Work on reestablishing intimacy outside of sex. If the emotional bond is weak, the physical connection will suffer. The final choice: save it or face the truth. Attraction, passion, and connection can be rebuilt if she's willing to put in the effort. But if your wife is truly emotionally gone, if she's mentally committed to another man even when she's with you, then you have to ask yourself, is this relationship still worth fighting for, or is it time to face the truth? Because the biggest mistake men make is ignoring the signs until it's too late. If this video resonated with you, drop a comment below. Like and share this video to help more men recognize these warning signs. Subscribe for more powerful insights on relationships, attraction, and male self-improvement. The truth is painful, but ignoring it is worse. Take control of your life before someone else takes control of your relationship. Blast off